Crap! I forgot to make a new video this week. This video is about my dieting habits. I mean, everybody literally has a diet. A diet is just what you eat. For some people, what they eat is not a deliberate choice. In my case, it is. What I'm going to talk about is specific to me, to my body, to my health, my metabolism. You might be able to learn from my example and maybe adjust things in a similar way, but in any case, just know that whatever I'm describing is specific to me. I supplement what I eat with regular exercise. It is generally working for what I'm trying to do, but this video is about my diet. Going back to like 2016, 17, 18, I forget the specific year, but I was not eating particularly healthy. I had started exercising at a gym for the first time in like 2009 or something, and when I started, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just like, okay, there's machines here, let's use them. Over time, bit by bit, like I started learning about what I'm supposed to do, and I started to get in better shape, but I never focused on what I was eating. And I guess I didn't weigh myself often because I wasn't concerned. My entire adult life, I have weighed somewhere in between 60 kilos and 70 kilos. Like always in between, never below 60, never above 70. So I mentioned like 2016, 17, 18 or whatever, because at that time, I was exercising pretty regularly, but in general, I was feeling not great. What I eventually found out is that I wasn't eating right. I wasn't eating enough for the amount that I was exercising. I think at the time, like I would have pick up 2 hard-boiled eggs like at the convenience store for breakfast and a coffee. And then for lunch, I would just have a single joule of kimbap. And kimbap doesn't have like much protein in it. Kimbap doesn't have much of anything in it. I think I would fill up for dinner, and my dinner would often involve something with rice. I don't remember exactly. I just know that dinner was where I would eat a lot, and then after dinner I think I would snack a lot on chips. Basically a lot of carbs, not a lot of protein, just stuff that wasn't good for my body. I don't remember why I was eating so little. I think maybe the reason is that I guess I'd grown up with some kind of stomach problems. Like I would just feel out of sorts, especially after eating stuff. And I probably thought that if I ate less, that it would affect my stomach less. But the problem was that the stuff that I was eating, even though I was eating less of it, was not good for me. I mean, if you're exercising and you're just eating a lot of carbs and not a lot of protein, your body doesn't really know what to do with that stuff. Or like chips, like it's just junk. And that stuff like messes with your stomach. So basically sometime, maybe 2017, I went to the doctor and she did a bunch of tests and she's like, have you started like trying to eat better? She suggested the kind of stuff that I should start eating, or just that I should eat more stuff. And so I was just like, okay, I'll try to eat stuff with meat and protein, and I'll just eat a lot. And like immediately, once I just had full meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like I just felt good. Not just in general, but like immediately after eating, I just felt great. Stomach problems went away because of eating more, but because I was eating the right things. Immediately after then though, I did gain more weight, still like under 70, but I was still working out the same amount that I was before, but I was just eating more. So then I figured, okay, I'm eating more, I have more energy, and I could increase my exercise routine a little more. So around 2019, I really kind of figured out what I wanted to do. Like I would do weights one day, and I guess cardio. I would do high intensity interval training on the stationary cycle. 30 seconds or a minute, pedaling pretty fast, and then 30 seconds slow. What that's supposed to do is it gets your heart racing more than if you're just going at one speed. Generally with cardio, to burn fat, the key is to get your heart beating. Like even if you're doing weights, as long as your heart's beating kind of fast, if you're going through your routine kind of fast, you're gonna burn calories. So what I was doing at the gym in 2019 was working. I don't know how often I weighed myself. I think I used to weigh myself just like once a month or something. And if I just noticed that I was losing weight bit by bit, I'd be like, okay, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And I guess in spring 2020, I was in the best shape I'd ever been in terms of muscle mass, in terms of fat fat. But then thanks to all the 2020 stuff, you know, we had to wear masks at the gym. So pretty much for the next 2 years after like spring of 2020, I was a bit less committed to the gym. Like I kept going, but I would only go, you know, when it was not that crowded. And even when I went, like I wasn't putting in as much effort. So usually when I visit New York, I try to exercise, but it's also hard to eat, you know, healthily because I just eat whatever my parents have at home. So I guess when I came back to Korea in January 2022, and this was actually while there was still mandatory quarantining, that was the first time that I indulged in ordering delivery. I was like 70, I think a maximum of 72 kilos, which shocked me at first because I had never gotten that high. So pretty quickly I decided, okay, no more ordering delivery, at least after the quarantine had ended. I was like, okay, I need to recommit myself to the gym. I should be doing cardio at least every other day. From January until June, my weight stayed at around 70 kilos. I got down from 72 to like 70, but it just stayed at 70. If I went up a mountain, 70 kilos. If I ate a lot, 70 kilos. If I ate very little, 70 kilos. It was a bit alarming because what I have been doing, they weren't working for me anymore. When I was working in Seoul, like I used to go at least 3 times a week, sometimes more. I would go to lunch buffets, often like cheap Korean lunch buffets. And even though it's like unlimited food, I wouldn't eat rice, I wouldn't eat pasta. I would pretty much just eat whatever meat was there and vegetables. So I was eating at buffets almost all the time, but I was eating responsibly. I was eating like stuff that was good for me. In Anyang at the restaurants here, maybe I'm just not looking hard enough, but all the places I go to, every type of meal is served with rice. And I noticed when I started making like tofu and vegetable stuff and tuna, on those days when I would eat at home, I would lose a little more weight. Whereas whenever I eat out, if I eat anything with rice for the rest of the day, my weight remains the same. So I discovered through trial and error that rice is kind of a killer, but it's also very hard to avoid around here. The other thing I realized at the gym is that I was gaining muscle, but I was doing it a bit leisurely, or at least like taking a break in between sets. After June, I was like, okay, when I go to the gym for weights, let's do it briskly, like short pauses in between sets, going from like one thing to the next, boom, boom, boom. I can at least burn some calories on weight day. So I decided to switch to treadmill and actually look at the calorie count while I'm on it. And I noticed like if I can burn through 400 or more calories while on the treadmill in a day, like I come home, I check my weight and I lose almost half a kilo. Right now it's the end of August. So in roughly 2 months, I've lost 4 kilos. You need to burn more calories in a day than the amount that you are taking in. Some people who are really successful, they count all their calories that they consume throughout the day. I'm not micromanaging my diet, but I am like keeping track of it every single day to try to make progress. I don't make progress every single day. I guess for the past week when I wake up in the morning, my weight is in like 66.5, around there. As long as it doesn't go higher, that's good, but I need to keep like pushing so it goes lower. You can burn calories and lose fat by just eating better, but it's a lot harder to do if you're not also exercising. But it's really, really hard to burn fat and lose calories just by exercising and not by eating right. If you can exercise and eat whatever you want and maintain the same weight or even lose weight, like great, keep doing that. If you can get closer to your goal by casually exercising and just eating freely, do that. Progress is progress, whatever works for you and your body. What worked for me 2 years ago wasn't working anymore, so I had to change things up. Often people who lift weights, what there is bulking and cutting. Bulking is where they focus on gaining muscle mass, but to do that, they eat a lot of food and therefore they gain a lot of weight and they gain a lot of fat too. But it's a faster process for building muscle, and then they go through a cutting phase where they try to lose weight and therefore burn off fat. I'm trying to do something like combining both, which isn't ideal. I mean, I guess it is actually like what actors do when they prepare for like superhero movies. Not that I'm exercising as intensely as they are, and not that my diet is as strict as theirs is, but you can do both at the same time, but it's much harder. If you have a goal, any progress toward getting to that goal is progress. Focus on that. Focus on the small things. If it takes you a month to lose like a kilo or lose a pound or whatever, if that is your goal, to burn fat and lose weight, then that counts as progress. I enjoy exercising and I enjoy the food I eat. I cut like chips and cookies and stuff out of my life. I don't miss them that much. If you're casual about your goal, don't punish yourself, don't overdo it, but push yourself in the right direction so you are making progress. Health, like healthy eating, whether or not that includes exercise, is a lifelong, I don't want to say commitment. It should be a lifelong commitment, but it is a lifelong project, because when you quit, your body just reverts to what it used to be, or it could be worse. So I would recommend making a lifelong commitment to what you want for yourself, what kind of life you want to lead physically. Depending on your metabolism, not everybody has that choice, but if your metabolism is still okay, consider giving it a try.